Welcome back to another mock product manager case study interview video. Today, we'll be taking up a product design case study as opposed to our previous case study videos, which were more of RCA or root cause analysis type. But just like last time, I'll play the role of candidate and Jack here would be the interviewer.
Hi there, ready for your case study interview?
Yes,
So, let's get started. How would you make Google Maps more helpful for tourists?
sure. So, before I jump into ideas, I just want to clarify a few things. Are we talking about domestic tourists, say someone from Bangalore visiting Jaipur, or international tourists, or just anyone exploring a new place?
Good question. Let's keep it broad. Basically, anyone exploring outside their home city. So both domestic and international tourists.
Got it. And is our main goal to drive more usage, like more searches, saved places, navigation sessions, etc.? Or is it more about satisfaction, helping them have a better trip?
Primarily engagement like more sessions, more places explored, etc. But yeah, user happiness also definitely matters.
Great. That gives me a good idea of the problem statement. Please allow me some time to think through this.
Sure.
So, let me first try and define different personas for tourists and major pain points they may face, or rather, different expectations they may have while traveling. Then you can guide me if I should focus on any specific persona or pain point.
Sure, go ahead.
So first, we'll have domestic tourists, maybe individuals or families from Mumbai, let's say, going to see palaces in Jaipur. For individuals, they'll probably care more about local gems, restaurants, and offbeat places. For families, they would want kid-friendly spots, easy itineraries, and probably less walking. Then there are international tourists, let's say someone exploring Varanasi or trekking in Himachal. They might struggle with language, currency, or local customs. And for all of them, I think being budget focused and concerns with safety while traveling to a new place can be a common theme.
Great, that's a very detailed user classification. I would want to keep this discussion generic and would love to discuss little bit about all the different personas and pain points you just mentioned. Do you think we'll be able to walk through all of them in this discussion?
Sure, why not? Thanks for the kind words. Give me a few minutes to properly structure my ideas, please.
Sure, take your time.
So, the first suggestion I have is tourist highlights more. It will be something like if Google Maps detects you are in a new city far from home, then it pops up with Welcome to Jaipur. Want to see top palaces, local places that tourists love? This would highlight top attractions, trending restaurants and cafes, popular experiences, and also integrate with Google's crowdsourced data to show best time to visit.
Interesting. So how would it actually determine what to show? Like, is it just the top rated places or something smarter?
Good question. I think I would go beyond just ratings. Google already has tons of signals like how many people visit a place each day, how long they stay, reviews and photos being uploaded. So we could rank sites by a blend of popularity, recency trends like what's hot this season, and maybe even personalize it a bit based on your past maps history.
Okay, but wouldn't that just show the same big touristy stuff everyone already knows about?
Totally fair. That's actually why I would include a couple of filters. One could be top landmarks everyone visits for people on a first time trip. Another could be hidden gems locals love, maybe with spots that are highly rated but less crowded. Also, we can even add categories like best street food, nightlife spots, kid friendly parks, etc. And then there can also be filtered by moods like historic sites, food crawl, shopping streets, and so on.
These are great suggestions. I particularly like the hidden gems idea. But what if someone doesn't want that? I travel for work all the time and wouldn't want to be bombarded with the tourist stuff.
Yeah, totally. I would make sure it's an opt in experience. Maybe it nudges you once with looks like you are in a new city, want recommendations? And then you can tap no thanks and it won't bug you again on this trip.
Cool. Last question on this. How would you know it's actually working?
I would measure success by tracking how many people engage with it when prompted, how many places they save or navigate to from this view, and maybe post trip ask a simple question like, was this helpful for your trip? More like a survey. Also, over time, we would expect to see more daily sessions and places explored per user when they are traveling versus before we launched this.
That's great. What else do you have in mind?
Yeah, another feature I could think of is building a multi stop trip planner right into Google Maps. A lot of tourists try to figure out how to cover multiple tourist locations on the same day to make the best use of time. So, a trip planner that builds a multi stop route for a day, accounting for opening hours, distances, and typical dwell times would be super helpful. So, let's say you are in Delhi with a free day. It could automatically plan something like start at India Gate at 10 a.m., then go to Humayun's Tomb, followed by lunch in Chandni Chowk, and then maybe ending the day with sunset at Jama Masjid. Basically, it would help tourists figure out how to visit multiple places in a day without having to juggle tabs, hours, and guess how long things will take.
Sounds interesting. But how's that different from just adding multiple stops in maps now?
Good question. But right now, if you add stops in maps, it's super manual. You have to know where you want to go already, plug them in, and it doesn't really optimize. What I am suggesting is more like you pick your interests. For example, museums plus local food plus parks. And it automatically builds a day routine that considers walking or driving times, typical dwell times. Like you might spend 2 hours at the museum versus 20 minutes in a coffee shop. And even opening hours so you don't arrive when a certain place is closed.
Sounds pretty cool, but also feels complicated. How would it handle unexpected stuff, like if the user decides to stay a little longer at one place? Does it get messed up?
Great point. I think it could be flexible. Maybe as you move, it adjusts in real time. So, if you are still at the museum at 1 p.m., it recalculates the rest and says, looks like you will hit the park at 3 p.m. Want to skip the cafe?
That's pretty smart. But how does this compare to existing travel apps? Can't people just use apps like TripAdvisor or Make My Trip for the same purpose?
Yeah, fair point. But I think those are more about planning your whole trip days in advance or booking paid tours. This would be more spontaneous, in the moment kind of planning. Like you wake up, open maps, and say, I've got 6 hours free in Delhi, give me a local highlights tour. And Maps already knows your location, current traffic, and local events. It's uniquely positioned to dynamically plan your day.
Makes sense. What kind of metrics would you look at here?
I would actually track how many day plans or multi-stop routes gets created, how many stop users actually visit from that plan, and a post-trip feedback like, did this plan help you explore the city better? Over time, we would hope to see longer sessions and more stops per tourist.
This was amazing. Do you have anything else in mind, or should we wrap up the discussion?
Another idea I have is an offline local guides plus safety toolkit.
Okay, tell me more. Isn't offline maps already a solved problem?
Yeah, sort of. You can download offline maps, but it's pretty bare bones, mainly streets and basic navigation. What I am talking about is layering in way more context. Not just streets, but reviews, photos, opening hours, even top rated dishes at restaurants.
Got it. But why do you think this is so important for tourists?
Because connectivity is probably the biggest friction when you travel. Many tourists don't have roaming or stable internet. A lot of tourists, especially internationals, rely on Wi Fi at the hotels and don't buy local SIMs. Once they step out into old Delhi, let's say, or small alleys of Varanasi, then they are basically blind. Having rich offline guides means tourists can still explore confidently even if they lose signal.
Makes sense. What about safety? You mentioned that. How would that look?
Yeah, I would include a basic safety toolkit right inside the offline pack. So, if you download Delhi before your trip, let's say, it also bundles emergency numbers like ambulance, nearest embassies, police hotlines, tips on common scams or areas to watch out for pickpockets. Maybe even lightweight city specific etiquette like dress code for temples and tips like avoid walking alone in a certain area at night.
Nice. But where would that info come from? Would Google curate it all?
Some of it could come from existing Google data like popular times to visit or flashed safety incidents if people often report thefts in a certain area. For more cultural and scam tips, maybe partner with a trusted travel site or embassies or even Indian tourism board.
Cool. But wouldn't that increase the download size too much?
That's a valid concern. For that, I would keep it optimal and as lightweight as possible. Like when you download an offline map, it could say, want to include safety and local tips for this area? It's just an extra 10 MB. If people don't want it, they can skip. But I bet a lot would find it reassuring, especially solo travelers.
Fair enough. And how would you know this is actually valuable?
Well, I would look at opt-in rates, how often people search or view places offline, and maybe post-trip and NPS, like did this help you explore with more confidence? Long term, we might see tourists staying in maps longer rather than jumping to TripAdvisor or offline guidebooks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed our discussion and we covered a lot of good ideas that should actually be implemented in Google Maps.
Thanks for the case. I also enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so that concludes the interview, and now let's look at some of the key takeaways from this mock interview. First, always start by understanding the user and the context. Before jumping to features, clarify who the target users are and what our goals are. Example, here we distinguished between domestic tourists, international tourists, and tried to clarify our goal of engagement or user satisfaction. Next, prioritize problems before jumping to solutions. Notice how we mapped the key pain points first, like internet issues, safety worries, tourist traps, etc. This keeps your ideas grounded in solving actual user points. Also, make your ideas tangible with real examples. Using local examples like the mention of Delhi, Chandni Chowk, Varanasi, etc., makes your ideas more relatable and memorable. It also shows the interviewer you are thinking about practical implementations and not just abstract solutions. And do expect pushback and be ready to adapt. Good interviewers will challenge you. For example, in our mock interview, Jack asked questions like, isn't offline maps already a solved problem? Where will the data come from? Won't that increase the download size, etc.? Use these moments to show your flexible thinking and that you can defend or refine your ideas with logic. And at last, do talk about impact and success metrics. Always close an idea by explaining how you would measure success. It proves you are thinking like a real product manager who cares about outcomes, not just building shiny features. So, now with all these pointers in mind, I would request you to watch the mock interview once again, maybe at a faster speed, to fully lock in these concepts in your mind. And with this, we now come to the end of the video. Please like and share this video if you found it helpful, and also do let us know in the comments what other product management topics would you like us to cover next. And don't forget to subscribe.